It's time to talk hockey with a Utah Mammoth and NHL insider on KSLSports.com. Cole Bagley on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I know we're going to talk hockey right here. Can I just hear Will Hardy again? Just that one. I just want to hear that one little clip there. By the way, it was the Jazz at 30 update. It might as well have been the Heat by 30 update. The way this thing was done. Take a listen to. I loved it actually because they're like, hey, Nurk had another triple double, and he's like, you guys, I'll say when things are good. I'm also going to say this if it sucks.
It's a great statistical achievement. We lost by 30. That's a hard one because I think I recognize that statistical achievements in this league are important and they indicate how special individuals can be in different moments. I also think that there are times that individual achievements are highlighted in spite of the fact that you lose. You know, while Nurk, I think, is playing really good basketball, we just lost by 30.
Yeah. It's real cute. I appreciate you asking about that numbers thing, but you see my face right now, right? We lost by 30. Anyway, I love Will Hardy because one night he'll go, we're going in the right direction. And then he'll go, did you just ask about a triple-double when we lost by 30? My heavens.
I mean, it's not quite as memeable as the masterpiece of Dog You Know What, but that was a pretty good rip.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Joining us right now on the program, he is our Utah Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com. Brought to you by the good folks at Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. He is Cole Bagley. Cole, that 5-2 win on Saturday was something different from that team that I saw, which was a team that they got down early. We've seen that before, but they didn't just take control in the second period. They just kind of played better than the Predators the rest of the way. Your thoughts on that 5-2 win down in Nashville this past weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that feels like a game that a year ago Utah probably comes out on the other end, right? That they end up losing 5-2. But, you know, what we've seen – from the Mammoth during this most recent stretch is they're making adjustments when they need to make adjustments, and they're playing mature hockey. They're playing confident hockey, and really the biggest difference in that game that kind of flipped it on its head was, in the first period, Nashville was going to the net, and then the second and third, Utah started going to the net, and, all of a sudden they walk out of Nashville with, 2 big points. We talked about it, I think, last week, how, if you were going to go on this 4-game road trip, that had to be a game that the Utah came away with, and that's what they did. So, yeah, it's there's a lot of progress happening right now, and the biggest thing moving forward is just to continue, consistency, right? To continue to play that way.
This team's just awesome right now, fun to watch. They're winning at a high clip. This is exactly, I think, what fans expected to see. Yet I want to be picky here because I know that they are picky in their locker room. The slow starts are kind of a thing, right? What is going on with the slow starts, and how do they clean that up?
Yeah, it's something that the team has recognized. Barrett Hayton, after the win, he obviously praised the team for the way that they played through the second and third. But he said, look, we've been having slow starts over the last couple of games. It's something that we've talked about and something that we've got to figure it out. And so, when a team, starts slow, I think it really just comes down to a lack of urgency and kind of a lack of heart in a lot of ways. If you watched that first 10 to 12 minutes of the first period, it was all Nashville, and Utah could not get into their game. They were losing puck battles. They were, just slow, to go to the dangerous areas of the ice. They were, dumping pucks into the offensive zone, but they weren't getting to them. And then Nashville on the other end was breaking out with a lot of speed and then coming into the zone, getting pucks in deep and going right to the net. And so I think it's as simple as that. I don't think there's really it's not rocket science. It just comes down to, the boys need to be ready to go from the time that the puck drops.
Saturday, we got to see Kyler Yamamoto get on the scoring sheet. And I always love that because that's a guy who flies around the ice. And it was a different version of him last year where I think we were all like, that's a fun story. What has he meant to the team? A guy that you see pop up every once in a while. He's unmistakable when he comes onto the ice because it looks like he's just skating around everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good player. I believe Yamamoto was a first or second round pick back when he was drafted. And he's a guy, and I think you got to give props to, I think, every player that's occasionally a healthy scratch for the Mammoth. Every single one of those guys comes in they don't have an ego. They, they're going to play the same way in any game that they appear in, whether that's, the previous 5 games or if they haven't played, for 20 games. They all come in and they play with a chip on their shoulders and they play, with something to prove with their team guys. And that's, I think the perfect way that you could describe Kyle Yamamoto. He has a very specific skill set. He's very technically gifted. He's good with the puck. He's got good handles. He's really smart. But despite his size, he flies around the ice. He delivers checks. He plays through contact. He's not afraid to go into the dirty areas. He's not afraid to go in front of the net. And that's how he scored against Nashville, was screening the goaltender and getting his stick on the end of a shot with a lot of heat to it. So yeah, it's him and O'Brien and DeSimone. I mean, like I said, every guy that has been a healthy scratch, that is not playing every night, they've had the right mindset, and I think that's a big reason that this team has kind of started to figure things out and has gone as far as they did. Is they have guys that they can rely on when they need to change things up.
They had to have that Nashville game because of what they're about to face in the next 3 games. This is a gauntlet that, I don't know. What are the realistic expectations for this team as they get ready to face the Lightning and the Panthers, the defending champs, on back-to-back nights, and then finish the trip in Carolina? This is brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistic expectations, I would say, is, circle the game tomorrow night in Florida. Not that the Panthers are an easy opponent by any means, but these next 3, you're facing 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and honestly, Tampa's one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. They have allowed the fewest goals. They've got the second best goal differential, and so it's tough to score on these guys. And they still have, in my opinion, one of the top 3 goaltenders in the world, and Vasilevsky. So yeah, this game tonight is tough. For me, it's probably a scheduled loss, one that you look at and you go, you know what? We've got a back-to-back. Tampa's playing out of their minds. So I wouldn't be shocked if maybe we see Vitek Vanacek in net tonight. They might, consider saving Vejmelka for tomorrow and then, go on to Carolina. But looking at these next 3, I think, realistic expectations would be win one of those and hopefully get a point out of the other. But, as we've discussed before, when you go on the road, the goal, kind of the base goal is to go 500, is to get, out of this road trip, to get 4 points out of 8 would be a huge success, and anything above that is just gravy. So, it's tough. I think this is, they've not that they've had it easy into the new year, but that homestand, most of those games were pretty favorable. They obviously were at home for 7 straight, and now they go 4 on the road of probably their most difficult road trip with the the back-to-back against the 2 Florida teams, then in Carolina. So a lot ahead of them. And they're going to need to bring their best hockey tonight.
Alex Napolis and our producer before the show, we were like, hey, what do you have to do the rest of the way? I just said, you only need 1 out of the next 3 to feel good about it, right? In terms of like what the traditional thought is, you do well at home, go 500 on the road. Do you think that the expectation should be a little bit more than that, or do you think that that's about right, considering that it's going to be a back-to-back and they're still going to be on the East Coast against Carolina?
I'd like to see 5 points out of the 8. Like I said, you've already got the 1 win in Nashville, which was the biggest one because it was a swing game. And then if you can find a way to win one of these remaining 3, and then if you can get to overtime against Tampa or against Carolina or whoever it is, just pick up 3 more points and go home with 5 out of 8. That would be wildly successful, I think, for the Mavs.
Just to remind everybody, this trip last year, this Tampa trip, they first went to Tampa. Do you remember what the score was of last year's matchup? Down in Tampa, 8-0.
That was hard.
Mammoth lost. But they did go to overtime against the Panthers in that very trip, and so it can be done. And that was a team who ended up winning the title. So it's going to be a fun one. Puck drops at 5 o'clock. You're going to get a 4 o'clock pregame right here at the top of the hour here. Cole, we appreciate all your coverage, man, and excellent job at everything. Thanks for explaining hockey to us, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cole.
Cole Bagley. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We got to jam a couple more things in here before we get done. The KSL Sports Zone, by the way, is honoring the people who are awesome youth sports volunteers in their neck of the woods with the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. All you have to do is go to kslsports.com/contests. It's plural, by the way. Contests, because I tried to get to contest before, but there you go. kslsports.com/contests, and then you get yourself a you can actually set somebody up and nominate them, and they get $250 to Beehive meals. So there you go. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up next. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.